YouTube. You already know Big Lou tapping back in one more game. But what it do? Big Lou, NFZR2, baby. Baya. So check it out. Man, this shit here is, man, this shit's something else. This shit is like, it's just calling out motherfuckers and you know what I'm saying, and shit talking, and you know what I'm saying, enough's enough already, right? I mean, you know, let me get to what I'm talking about. So as you can tell from that thumbnail, that's Saul Canelo Alvarez, aka Cashnelo, aka Cartelo, aka King Nelo, aka Canelo, aka Saul, and Bud Crawford, Terrence Crawford, right? So we all know that Bud just became a 4-division world champion by defeating Israel Madrimov not last weekend, weekend before. Okay, he's now the WBA 154-pound champion, right? Which is, you can call it super welterweight, you can call it junior middleweight, you can even call it light middleweight, right? But it all boils down to the same 154 pounds. Okay, like I mentioned before, light middleweight. I just started hearing that being said not too long ago. It always was either super welterweight or junior middleweight, depending on the sanctioning body or what boxing magazine you're looking at, right? And Canelo's going to be fighting in the next month here on September 14th, Mexican Independence Weekend. He's going to be fighting one of my folks, Puerto Riqueño, Edgar Berlanga, which he's not ready for a fight at this magnitude, man. You know, in my opinion, he talks like a youngster, right? He's saying some really dumb shit up there, you know, trying to argue with Canelo. Canelo even brought himself down to the level of Edgar, and he sounded stupid, right? In my opinion, he's over there, bah, 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 you know, doing all that stupid shit. You got the chubby dude in the back smiling and giggling and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's Mexico contra de Puerto Rico, right? Even though Berlanga's de Nueva York, he's from New York, he's from Brooklyn, right? But see, that's the thing, man. In the passion and the passion and the honor and the pride that we have for being Puerto Ricanos, right? For being Puerto Rican, for being Jibarito, for being Portorro, for being Boricua. You know what I'm saying? It's downplayed and overlooked and disrespected by the the Puerto Ricanos from La Isla del Encanto, from the island, right? And it shouldn't be like that. But at the same time, Mexicanos, the Mexicans, same thing. They didn't like De La Hoya because he was nació aquí, he was born here, and Julio Cesar Chavez was their man at the time, right? And as well as any other Mexicanos fighters that De La Hoya fought. So when De La Hoya come out talking that shit about Berlanga, bro, I'm more Puerto Rican than you are. That sounds stupid as hell for you to even say that. Oscar De La Hoya, El Golden Boy. You know what I'm saying? Even though you were a hell of a fighter, 6th division world champion, boom. You was the man. You passed the torch to De La Hoya as far as the cash cow, and it is what it is. But seems like he just can't stay out of his way from saying dumb shit sometimes. It's something else. You know what I'm saying? Berlanga, I don't know how he got this fight. He's not ready for this type of fight. Like I said, perfect example, Jaime Munguia, 50 professional fights, ex-world champion, and he wasn't ready for Canelo either. It was his first fight at 168, even though Berlanga's been at 168 a while, but Berlanga's been put on his back a few times. Nowhere near the experience, the talent and skills of a Canelo. He's never even been in the ring with a world champion. Now you're getting in there with a 4-division world champion. Just not too long ago was the undisputed at 168. He's also an ex lightweight champion. Excuse me, the light heavyweight champion at the IBF when he took out Sergey Kovalev. Berlanga's not ready, man. But you know what? I'm going with him anyways, only because él tiene sangre mismo como yo. He got the same blood as me. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? But I think Canelo. Okay, so let me get down to this fight. So this fight here is, he says that he was texted by, I guess, Turkey Al-Sheikh and them, his people, and he said he was 100% concentrating on the Berlanga fight. Okay. Then he goes on to say that it's got to be his way because he's in a position where he's the man and it's got to be his way. Which I get that, I understand that, but that shit can only go so far when it comes to fighting David Benavidez. Now with this Crawford shit, I mean, okay, yeah, sounds nice, right? 168 pounder versus 147 pounder, even though he's at 154 now. There's no way that Crawford's going to beat Canelo. Canelo's been in there with dudes that can punch, Bivol, Triple G, guys that can really punch, and they couldn't even fade him as far as hurting him, right? Crawford's not going to hurt him. Crawford can outbox him, but at some point, Crawford's going to get caught, and Canelo punches very, very hard. I've said that I don't know how many times. So Canelo says that only on one condition is if Crawford fights Teofimo Lopez, and he just because Teofimo deserves it more than he does. What are we doing here, man? Teofimo, he's a 140 pounder. He just came up not too long ago. He's only had 2-3 fights at 140, right? I'm not taking nothing away from him. He's a champion again at another division, but he ain't ready for no Crawford either, man. Crawford would tear his ass up. Come on, man. I mean, even if Crawford's getting older, he's 36 now. He's gonna be 37 in a few weeks. Teofimo, how does Teofimo be the one that deserves him next? If anything, David Benavidez is the only one that should be getting in the ring with Canelo next. That's it. There shouldn't be no more ducking, no more running, no more nothing. Just get your ass in the ring with the dude. The dude is a 2-time WBC super middleweight champion. He's the current WBC interim champion. He's the #1 contender. You know what I'm saying? There's just, 4 or 5 fights back, because Canelo likes to use his shit. That's what pissed me off the other day when he talked shit about Berlanga. Oh, what have you done? You've done nothing. Well, at one point you didn't do nothing either, and you had to work your way to there. So you decided to give this young man a shot, and now he's there. Okay, so to keep always using that, you said the same shit about Boo Boo. Boo Boo, you beat nobody for the belt. You want payday? Okay, I'll give you payday. You want payday? Whatever the hell he said about payday, right? I like Canelo as a fighter, but you know what? This shit is just too much. He's being arrogant now. I don't like it. I don't like it because it's obvious, and I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt with Benavidez, and I also been saying about Benavidez 2 times. Benavidez been stripped of the WBC belt, and if he was up on his game and being held accountable, with himself and his team holding him accountable, he shouldn't have been there in that position. First, giving him a dirty test, stripped the belt. Second, he was over. He didn't make weight, stripped him of the belt. You know what I'm saying? So if he never would have, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He lost the first one. He gave a dirty test. Then he won it back. And then what happens? He gets stripped again, and then Canelo ends up winning it. So if he never would have got stripped, Canelo would have had to come to him. Canelo would have had to come to him to become undisputed at 168, which was his goal, right? And he accomplished it. Okay. But who's to say that Teofimo Lopez deserves to get in there with Bud Crawford when you got all those guys in his division that he hasn't fought yet? He hasn't fought Rolly. He ain't fought Tank. He hasn't fought Ryan. He ain't fought Matias. He ain't fought none of them dudes except for Taylor. And even Martin. Xander Martin beat him, really, if you want to be technical. I think he outpointed him, right? So, Teofimo's, he's a little arrogant fuck too, right? But, I give him, he's Latino. I like him. He's a hell of a fighter too. But to say he's the one that should fight Crawford next by Canelo, that's just another little cop-out to me. That's another way for him to duck shit. But I don't even think he should be fighting Crawford because I don't think Crawford's going to be able to take his punches. You've seen the difference with Crawford stepping up and fighting Israel Madrimov, who is a good fighter, he has a long amateur background, but obviously he hits a lot harder, and you've seen it with Bud, right? So I'm going to read this article. This is from secondsout.com. Canelo still willing to fight Terence Crawford, but has one final condition, and it's not money. Okay, Saul Alvarez has not completely ruled out facing Crawford. Crawford's been chasing a fight against the super middleweight unified champion since his career-defining victory last year over Earl Spence Jr., where he captured the undisputed crown at welterweight. The fight had a financial backer in Rite Seasons Turkey Al-Sheikh, who made it clear he wanted to make the clash and announced an offer had been sent to the Mexican. However, just 48 hours later, that offer was revoked, and Canelo gave his thoughts behind the U-turn, saying he only did business on his terms. What's wrong with that? Him doing business on his terms. By this point in his career, 34 years old, He's been fighting since he's 15. And he's the face, pretty much the face of boxing. Multiple world titles, 4 different divisions. What's wrong with it being on his terms? I don't think there's a problem with that. He's earned that, right? Yesterday, they text me asking to discuss the fight with Crawford, and I said, look, I'm not going to talk about any other fight. I'm focused 100% on this fight against Berlanga. I don't like the way he talked, and I'm in a position that if he wants to work with me, it's my way, not their way. I don't need it. It's not the way to approach me. I respect everybody and I respect Turkey, but if he wants to work with me, it needs to be my way. Again, I don't see there's a problem with that, right? Canelo has been accused of pricing himself out of the big fights fans have been calling for and had previously slapped a $150 million price tag on facing Bud. However, when asked by Fight Hub TV about the current situation, Canelo did not dismiss the contest, but told Crawford to face Teofimo Lopez first, and then he'll see about making it happen. Crawford needs to fight Teofimo Lopez first, and then we'll see. Teofimo deserves it more than me. So I don't understand. Okay, now this is what I don't agree with. Who made Canelo chief? Who died and made him chief to be the overseer of Crawford's career? You know what I'm saying? And who he fights and who and where does he get off saying that Teofimo Lopez deserves it? Teofimo is the current super lightweight Ring Magazine and WBO belt holder and has welcomed a clash against his fellow American. So that shit right there is just bullshit for it's just bullshit for more, just throwing more shit, more flaming the fire, you know, by Teofimo in his camp. You know, his dad's always right there running his fucking mouth, talking shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, dude. Like, you know, yeah, Teofimo fought great against Loma. He fought good and great against Josh Taylor, but against Kambosos and Sandor Martin when he moved up, not so great, right? I understand he was injured and all that when the Kambosos fight. He said Kambosos went running back with him. I don't know how true that is. I know he was pretty injured and sick or whatever. He was in the hospital. That was relevant. I mean, that was obvious from the pictures and the records they show from that. But there's a ton of guys in his division that he could fight. He could fight Devin Haney. He could fight, like I said, the other guys I named, Tank Davis, Brian Garcia, Matias, all them dudes. He could fight all them dudes, right? Rayo Valenzuela now. You know what I'm saying? Pitbull Cruz, all them guys. I just named like 6-7 guys he can fight. Big name fights, big name fighters, big name guys. You can throw in Rolly in there too if you want. Even though I think Rolly's a joke, right? You know, so all this shit, you know, challenging guys 2 weight classes ahead of you, 3 weight classes ahead of you. That's all a bunch of bullshit, man. It's all a bunch of crock of shit when you got a bunch of guys right there in your own division that you can fight. This is what I was gonna say earlier when Canelo was talking about fighting David Benavidez. What he do for me? What had he done? Now, okay, now since then he's beaten Caleb Plant. He's beaten David Lemieux. He's beaten Bubu Andrade. You know what I'm saying? Those are 3 world champions he beat since Canelo was talking all that shit. You know what I'm saying? About he ain't fought nobody. He's only beat Andre Durrell. You know, what's fucked up about it is that, you know, Canelo's not remembering from his humble beginnings. You know what I'm saying? At one point, Canelo, you hadn't fought nobody either. When you got that first title shot, you hadn't fought nobody either. You know what I'm saying? And to say shit about David Benavidez, not he ain't fought nobody. He only beat 1 world champion. Well, he's a 2-time champion and an interim champion, and he's also an interim. If you want to get technical, he's an interim up at the light heavyweight division as well. So, that's the fight people want to see. I think people want to. 8 times out of 10, people would rather see Canelo Benavidez instead of Canelo Crawford. Canelo Crawford makes no sense other than just to make a mega fight, right? We've seen what happened with Jermell Charlo, right? And Crawford's coming up from a smaller fighter than that. And Jermell couldn't take the power of Canelo. No, he didn't knock him out, but he gave up. He took a knee and he gave up, right? I don't think anybody expected that. And the fact that when they asked Crawford at the end of the Madrimov fight, he was like, you know, he wasn't really like on it like he was before. You know what I'm saying? I think that says enough right there alone. It's just a lot of shenanigans in boxing, man. It's you know, I seen Abel. I can't think of the guy's name. Manny, whatever. The guy used to train Andy Ruiz Jr. Manny something. He was training the guy that Virgil Ortiz beat the other day, which I don't think Ortiz really won that fight. He got dropped a few times and he still won the fight. I mean, that's insane. I don't get that. In my opinion, the old school opinion, the champion needs to get knocked out or made to look silly in the fight. You know what I'm saying? And Virgil Ortiz didn't do that. Just like I said with Tyson Fury and Wilder won. Wilder dropped him a few times. That should have been enough to win it easy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it might have been close on points, but the two drops should have been enough to win the fight. So, um, you know, it's just it's too much shenanigans. The guy was right, Manny. I can't think of his last name, but the trainer, Andy Ruiz's ex-trainer, when Andy Ruiz won the heavyweight title, you know, he says that, you know, people talk to the promoters, they talk to the trainers, they talk to the fighters, they talk to the people in the stands watching, the, you know, the crowd. They talk to other fighters, they talk to everybody involved in boxing, in the sanctioning body representatives, the presidents, everybody except for the judges. The judges never have to speak up and talk for themselves when they make a bogus ass decision. You know that, you know, these fighters get in that ring and sacrifice so much to get in there and they win, and it's obvious they won, and a, you know, a judge or two gives it another, you know, has influence in the fight where it ends up being a draw or going the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? It happens way too much, and it's not cool at all. And sometimes it's the same judges involved in multiple different fights. That it's a jacked up outcome, you know. But they never have to speak up or talk about or being held accountable for why they made the decision, you know, or explain why. If it has to be round by round, whatever, but explain how they came up with the score of 116, 112, for example, or whatever it is. They don't ever do it, right? So, and they're never they're never held accountable. After the fight, boom, 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 they do whatever, they get paid or however they do it, they go home. That's it. Yeah, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? So, this is just a little video on boxing. Um, we'll see what happens. But it's definitely David Benavidez Canelo fight that I want to see, and most everybody else wants to see. With that being said, Big Lou tapping out.